Alright, hi everybody. Today we're going to be covering killer strategies and tools. We're going to be covering gen defense, map control, killer power management, hook management, and enforcing trades, and creating forks. So we're going to be covering which gens you do want to be defending, zoning, dead zones, exposed, condemn, other types of killer stuff, chases, and of course using HUD with hooks and downs and creating forks. So the first thing is about gens. The important ones are our 3 gens, mid-map gens, gens near and dead zones, ones that play into your power. Obviously if you're Ghostface, you don't want gens with ways to break your power. So you don't want open line of sight kind of in those areas. We're going to be looking at a couple examples actually of a Ghostface match that I recently recorded. It's going to be on RPD, and the idea is you want to keep some map control, right? So if you look at these gens, right, this area has the back staircase, like helipad area. So all of those gens, we really don't want to lose middle gen here, so we're going to be hooking and trying to keep people in middle gen. You can see I already have 2 people dead. And this area that I'm in now really only has one way up, which is through that staircase. So we're chasing around, kind of around the hook a little bit. We're taking chases, we're taking hooks in that area. So we're playing into this gen defense of defending the middle gens because they're very important, and trying to stick to areas that are decently okay for us. Because this area is not that bad. A lot of RPD I feel like is not super bad for Ghostface in general, because we can guard our hooks pretty easy. We can get nice downs and power pretty easy, I guess. Speaking of maps and places we want to go to and not go to, you want to create dead zones, you want to break pallets, that sort of thing. You want to zone or herd, if you would rather, if you can remember that better. It's like herding, like you're moving people where you want them to go. You want to place traps, you want to break doors or not break them depending on things. Things like Gideon Meat Plant, there are some doors there that you don't want to break because people can't get out of a room if you're chasing them in it and there's no broken door. So in this case, we're talking about map control and map knowledge. I'm checking these staircases in a little bit here. We saw the check mark, so I was just checking there. But I'm thinking, do we have a hook here? No hook there. I was like, that's very odd. So I was like, where's our next hook? Because this Feng Men, so if you also look, she's nearly dead. She's nearly been bled out. Just kind of how things played with that. So I'm just going to let her go there. I'm going to guard this area more or less, damage some gens, take a look around, see if there's anybody around, but stay fairly close enough. And she's dead, and we find the next person. Another example of zoning or herding, I try to go to the right of that wall to cut her from running into the map. I want her to run back. So if she tries to run in, she has to come towards me. We're going to see another example of that with Unknown. So we're chasing her, we're trying to think of like, okay, where are we placing ourselves, where are we letting her go, where are we breaking pallets from? So we see that, she's chasing in, I'm like, oh, she's going towards the wall, I miss it. Well, I'm taking a look, and I'm like, oh, she's running left here, so we're keeping to the right, because if she veers right, she's coming towards me. Power management, cooldowns, knowing your powers, stalk, expose, killer items, exceptions, mind games, chases, all very, very important. You want to manage all of these things. You want to manage them, including hook states. Hook states and downs are also kind of going to play into that, because you want to stalk as much as you can, you want to get your power as much as you can, you want to take chases that are really good for you, and you want to leave chases that are not good for you. So in this case, we've got a young miss who now has full condemn here. We're breaking from a specific side of the palette to force her away from the map and into this bad area. And somehow she is no longer condemned. I don't entirely know how that happened. I didn't see like a TV that she had plugged into, but that's okay. She's dead nonetheless. And then, look at that, we find our other person who is dead on hook, and we grab her. And she's just like, okay, whatever. So this is an example. We're managing our condemned to get good stuff. We're managing our stock here. So he's 99. I see another person. I'm like, we're going for her. She didn't even see it. She didn't even know we were. So now we have her, and this other guy is fully 99. So we're taking chases in good areas. We're keeping a track on where everybody is, and there's how our power management comes into play. So obviously use your head to identify good targets, track your hook states and your obsessions, force trades whenever you can, and guess who and when someone will save hook. So keep a track of all these types of things. Think of, okay, who's going for the hook, who's not going for the hook, how they're getting to the hook, from what direction would they have to approach. We're going to be seeing this on RPD, where some of the places that I'm hooking are not good for them to approach. This is Xenomorph, so this is an example where we have a hook down there. We've got somebody who's lying on the floor. Okay. So we've found our thing, and we can take this. So remember, we have a hook in basement. So now we've just placed somebody right across from basement entrance. And this Kate can't unhook without getting hurt. And now she's in basement, so she's not getting out without getting hurt. So this is an example of forcing hook trades and also doing something known as a fork. Fork is a term used in chess. We'll talk about that a little more. Here, we're trying to figure out where everybody is. And look at that. I'm tracking hook states. I hear somebody on a gen. I'm like, well, this has to be the guy who's injured. It is. It's the guy who's second hook. And then I know this Rebecca was at a hook in library, and she got saved. So I was like, the only way out of library is either through where I just hooked, not likely, or to jump down, because we have helipad on RPD, so we don't have the other version of RPD. And one way out, right? The only way this guy could possibly be coming is either jumping down into that hole in library, or through the stairs. Most people don't jump down the hole. Now back to creating forks. A fork requires a hook or a down survivor. You need at least one of each. You could have 2 hooks, 2 downs. And it's a chess term that describes putting your opponent in a lose-lose situation, where one piece is attacking at least 2 different enemies, and one enemy piece will likely be taken as a result. So this is commonly used in chess to take pieces. It's kind of like, as I said, lose-lose. You can do this in DBD. You can hook a survivor, you can have a down, you are guarding 2 different objectives, essentially, that the survivors want to get to. And in order to get to them, a survivor has to either take a hook, take a down, or take an injury. So you are getting something out of it. So this is guarding 2 hooks, guarding 2 downs, guarding a hook and a down. You get the idea, right? You are creating a fork and you are taking a piece. That is essentially what the idea is. So back to this clip of, okay, we have the Rebecca. We have this full stock. We've managed our stock really, really well. So where are we putting Bill, right? We've got to think about where our hooks are. Okay, well, he goes right down there. So the way there is to either come in from mid-map or to jump down. The Rebecca, you have to be upstairs to get her. You have to go through library. There is no other way to get her. So I know this. I'm guarding. I'm creating this fork. Yes, you can go for the Bill, but then you're not going to get to the Rebecca in time. Which actually happens. So she actually ends up going second there because of that. This is an example of that, more or less on Chucky, where we're guarding downs, we're getting our injuries, and we're just getting down after down, hook after hook, and they're allowing it. We get all 4 people injured at one time. We have so many downs. Like, not a single person here is healthy. We've done so much against the team. There's no gen progress other than that one gen that popped earlier. And we've just gotten so much out of this. We've gotten 2 hooks already. 1 person is still injured. Now we've got a 3rd person that we just pulled out of locker. Like, we've gotten so many hooks for essentially what should have been just 2 gens, right? 4 hooks for 2 gens would be about the ideal, right? That you're doing fine. You can do that. But if you're doing anything other than that, if you're getting above that, you're doing really, really good. So they gave me so much pressure. So this is kind of like an example of forking. It's more like guarding, because we are kind of bouncing a little bit in between things that we're guarding. But when you fork, you're not camping. You're not slugging. You have a very specific goal in mind, which is to essentially trade something. That is the goal. Slugging, camping, you are still gaining something. If you're camping, you're gaining maybe an extra hook state or something. Like if you're like basement Bubba camping or something. If you're slugging, same thing. But you're not really going for a 4-man slug. You're not really going for face camping on doing forks, right? The idea is you're forcing trades, more or less. And you're forcing it by splitting survivor objectives. So if you have 2 hooks, or you have a hook and a down, that is 2 people's jobs. They cannot be on gens. So that's kind of the idea. It's not really slugging, it's not really camping. It has some elements of those at times, but it very much is a pick one and get something for it, right? Because the idea is somebody, like with the Zarina, the Zarina came up to go grab the Rebecca. We have 2 different hooks, right? So it didn't really matter if we went after her or the person who's getting the bill. The idea is we are getting somebody. So the bill gets pulled for free, but the other person does not. And that is the big difference, right? Where we are not necessarily targeting the person on hook again. We're not camping and then going after them, blah, 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 all that shenanigans. We are forcing trades. That forks force trades. People will give you trades kind of on their own, but a fork is a way to guarantee a trade if you're playing it correctly. And so these are kind of like the basics of Survivor and the tools they use. Not Survivor, but these are the basics of Killer and the tools they use and the strategies they can use. And they're very, very, very interesting to see. These are all clips and videos from my own gameplay that you can see on my channel if you're interested. So yeah, if you want to see how some of these games fully play out and how I use these strategies to win games, maybe get some kills, please do check that out. And strategies do not always equal wins. So if you're thinking about like, oh, if I do any of these things, I'll just automatically win. That's never a given, right? So the thing I would say is that strategies are tools to use in the right situations at the right times. They can be preventative, they can be causal and effect. So something like a fork is an action you are taking to get something in return in the future, so you're cause and effecting that. So you're not winning just by doing any one of these things. You have to be keeping track of a lot of these things and making very smart game decisions. Not just for you, but if you're playing as a survivor, keep a note on some of these things that I was talking about. Like, forks are very dangerous for survivors because of what I said, like what I mentioned, which is that somebody is going to end up in chase, so you need somebody who's really, 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 really good and who knows how to get around these things, stuff like that. Like, you need to be aware of where am I going, how am I approaching things, where's the killer likely to be, that type of thing. So if you think about killer strategies as tools, the obvious idea is, how do I break them? So that's the thing, right? Tools can be broken and they can also be not effective. If you are cleaning out a pool, it does not help you to have a wrench. You know, you want a pool scrubber. So that's the thing with strategies. apply the right tool to the right situation, because if you use the wrong tool, you could puncture a hole. So that's the idea, right? So anyway, enough rambling on. But if you want to see more videos talking about basic strategies and mechanics, let me know in the comments. See y'all later.